What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the top 5 short squeeze stocks that you need to add to your watch list going into this upcoming week. So I'm going to go over all the things that you need to know, but first make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So starting off with the first stock, not in any particular order though, BTAI, so BioXcel Therapeutics, sitting at 404 over the last 1 year. It is down 75.49%. Over the last 5 days, it is up 129.7%. So in many cases, I like to choose stocks that have some pretty good, like pre-existing momentum in the short term, and in many cases, shorts just being overextended. So this does meet that criteria. A lot of good info right here as well, so feel free to pause it and go through that if that's your thing. Same as reading the company profile. So it is biotech, 37 employees, founded in 2017, based out of the States, but 25.46% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 1.4 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow average 318%. That is a annual rate, not a daily rate. Short score 80.92. So the higher the number, the higher the likelihood of a squeeze happening. And you can kind of see as well based on this chart that shorts have been very reactive to the stock price. So it went from about 5% short interest to where it is now in a very short time span. So it went from about August 1st to where it is now. So shorts have quadrupled down. So it's kind of putting them in a little bit of a pinch, because if the stock price does continue to move higher, it's going to put them in the bind, whether they have to start mitigating and cutting risk, or they quadruple down, which makes it even more of a unique scenario. One thing I do want to bring up though is through IBKR, there is roughly around 30,000 shares available to be shorted. So whenever you get stocks, limited supplies such as this, you could see some corresponding buying from a lot of big players, BlackRock, Vanguard, and so forth, because they love to buy stocks just to lend out. And just for clarity, they are not the ones shorting. So obviously BlackRock doesn't buy this stock, for instance, and short it. They buy it, then they lend it out to a shorter. So something just so you're clear on that. But nonetheless though, BlackRock and big names buying will add buying pressure, even further pushing the stock higher. So again, something to keep in mind. So this is the first stock. Moving on, SGBX sitting at 40 cents over the last 1 year. It is down 76.61%, and then over the last 5 days up 46.72%. So again, a lot of good pre-existing momentum. This is what they do. So construction and engineering based out of good old Miami. But 86.74% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 6.07 million shares. Cost to borrow average 410%. So very high stuff. And similar nature, shorts have been extremely reactive to the stock price. A little bit excessive if you ask me. So it went from about 2% short interest, which was the beginning of July, to where it is now. So they have been like quadrupling whatever else down. So definitely interesting to see. Short score 81.08. And one thing to kind of take note of though is the shares on loan is sitting at 13.66 million. But if we kind of pop over here, outstanding shares is only 10.12. Free float is only 6.9. So there is essentially more 2x more on loan than there is available. So something very, very fishy is going on there. So for those of you that like to believe in squeeze plays, naked shorting, this one definitely is one to kind of keep in on your watch list. And then through IBKR does indicate 15,000 shares is available to be shorted. So again, you could be seeing some buying in the short term just based on this. Moving on to the next one. This one's been a very popular one. So ticker is NEGG and sitting at 79.79 over the last 1 year. It is up 407% over the last 5 days, up 21.34, and then over the last 1 month up 381. So this one's a very popular one, has gone up considerably. And then this is what they do. So computer and electronic retail, 762 employees based out of the States. But this is where things get very interesting. So just so you're clear, whenever a stock has done a kind of a reverse stock split, it kind of skews Ortex. So whenever a company has done one, like a reverse stock split in like a 2-week span, I tend to not look at the short interest data via Ortex because it is rather skewed. So this company did do a reverse stock split April 7th, 2025, a 1-for-20. But if we pop over to Ortex, it does show 220.9% of the free float is being shorted. works out to be 355,000 shares overall are being shorted. So that already is more than what is on loan. So even if we do take that 220 divided by the 20, 1 for 20 reverse split that they did, it still would put them at 11%. But nonetheless, there still is more shares being shorted than on loan. So another type of sketchy scenario is going on. Cost to borrow average is 389%. Shorts have been extremely reactive to the stock price, quadrupling down. Short interest was only about, it looks like 20% in May, and then based on Ortex, again, it is factoring and showing 220%. So do your own due diligence no matter what. Short score 81.08, and then through IBKR, it does indicate roughly around 5,000 shares is available to be shorted. So this stock definitely will be seeing some buying because this cost to borrow is very, very juicy. So 315%. That again is just through IBKR. So this one, unique circumstance. Even if that 220% is not accurate, there still is more shares being shorted than on loan. So another type of sketchy scenario going on. Moving on to the next one, ticker's SKYT. So SkyWater Technology sitting at 1408 over the last 1 year, up 105%, and then over the last 5 days, up 58.19%. This is what they do. So semiconductor, 702 employees based out of the States, but 14.06% of the free float is being shorted, works to be 3.63 million shares. Cost to borrow average is 2%, so rather on the low end, and this is why you have that short score sitting at 71.9, and that is because of that relatively low cost to borrow. DTC is 4.89 days, so that does show the magnitude essentially of what a squeeze would be. So that does factor in the average volume for this stock versus the amount of shares being shorted. Shorts haven't really been all that reactive to the price. It looks like they've been in it for quite some time since the beginning of January. It went from about, for the most part, 9% short interest to where it is now. So shorts have been in this for quite some time. Through IBKR, though, it does indicate 250,000 shares is available to be shorted. But based on the cost to borrow, you might not be seeing all that much in buying because that cost to borrow is rather on the low end. So not really beneficial to see any buying. But nonetheless, this stock is definitely having some good momentum, so it's going to put shorts in a little bit of a bind. So again, another stock to add to your watch list. And then last but not least, a very, very popular one, and that is ticker BMNR, sitting at 51.43 over the last 1 year. It is up 343%. Over the last 5 days, up 62.89. This is what they do. So application software, 7 employees based out of good old Vegas. And then aside from that, short score is 67.93. So once again, the higher the number, the higher the likelihood of a squeeze happening. So this one definitely does have some good momentum. Tom Lee as well, very much ingrained in this, pushing this. A lot of people kind of correlate the two as well. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff. Let me know your thoughts on these 5 stocks. Is there any other squeeze plays that you would add to your watch list? If so, throw some tickers in the description below. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.